So when we picture a chess grandmaster at Katerina, we usually imagine this, like human supercomputer, right?
Right, yeah. Someone just sitting there in dead silence.
Exactly. Just calculating 20 moves ahead, whittling down every possibility until there's, only one flawless, mathematically perfect path to victory. But today, we're looking at a grandmaster who did the exact opposite.
Mikhail Tal.
Yes,
Yeah.
Mikhail Tal, the magician from Riga. He played like an absolute maniac, and, well, it actually worked.
It really did.
So our mission for this exploration into your source material is to figure out how weaponizing pure chaos is actually this profound masterclass in human psychology.
And decision-making.
Right, and managing information overload, which we all deal with.
For sure. To really get inside Tal's head, though, we have to kind of separate the illusion of chaos from what his strategy actually was, because people called his style wild, but, that implies randomness.
And he was definitely not random.
No, not at all. Tal was anything but random.
Which completely flips how we normally think of strategy. Most players treat the game like a maze. They're just standing at the entrance, scanning for the fastest, most efficient route to the exit.
Right. They want the shortest path.
Exactly. But Tal treated it like he was actively building new walls and dead ends, like right while his opponent was trying to run through it.
That is a perfect way to visualize it. While other grandmasters spent enormous effort trimming the branches of the game tree.
So they only have to focus on a few predictable outcomes.
Exactly. Tal kept introducing these speculative sacrifices to force those branches to multiply. He wasn't just attacking the wooden pieces on the board, he was attacking his opponent's certainty.
Okay, let's unpack this a bit. Because it's like, instead of trying to win a debate by presenting, one flawless fact, you ask 5 deeply unsettling questions.
Oh, like that analogy.
Yeah, questions that force your opponent to entirely question their own reality. So he's treating the pieces differently than a traditional player would. Your notes mention this concept of chess currencies.
Right. What's fascinating here is how beginners look at a board. They think giving up a pawn or a knight or a rook is simply losing material.
Just a straight-up loss.
Yeah, but Tal saw a sacrifice as a purchase. He was giving up a piece to buy, time, space, and most importantly, his opponent's mental bandwidth.
But wait, these are grandmasters we're talking about. I'd imagine their brains can handle a few extra possibilities, right?
Yeah.
Is it just that they run out of time on the clock, or is he actually short-circuiting their processing power?
He is literally short-circuiting their working memory, because grandmasters don't actually calculate every single move from scratch.
Wait, they don't?
No. They rely on chunking, they recognize familiar patterns on the board, and just instinctively know how to navigate them.
Oh, interesting.
So by introducing these bizarre, seemingly illogical sacrifices, Tal shattered those recognizable patterns. He forced their brains to manually calculate every single possibility.
Wow, so they are suddenly playing a completely unfamiliar game.
Right, and that leads to the math of overwhelm, the branching factor.
What is that?
Basically, every decision on the board creates new decisions, multiplying exponentially. So 1 becomes 2, 2 become 8, 8 become hundreds.
That's a lot to hold in your head.
Exactly. When you force a human brain to process all of that, without the safety net of those familiar patterns, their working memory literally runs out of RAM, attention fragments.
And doubt replaces certainty.
Exactly, quietly, without the player even really noticing it happening.
I buy the psychology of that, but I have to play devil's advocate here for a second.
Go for it.
We have modern chess engines now, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they frequently prove that Tal's moves were objectively dubious.
They do, yeah.
So if a MacBook can look back and mathematically prove his sacrifices shouldn't have worked, doesn't that sort of poke a hole in his whole legacy?
Well, this raises an important question, but it's easy for a chess engine to say Tal was wrong when it doesn't have a guy staring it down across a table.
With a ticking clock.
Exactly. This highlights the massive gap between theoretical performance and practical reality. A computer calculates millions of positions calmly.
No heartbeat, no stress.
Right. It doesn't feel fatigue or panic or hope. Tal wasn't playing an algorithm. He was playing wonderfully imperfect humans.
So a sacrifice completely changes that internal monologue.
Yeah.
Suddenly the opponent is sweating, asking, what did I miss?
Is he seeing a trap I can't see? Yeah, exactly. In fact, grandmasters even admitted after playing Tal that they sometimes knew a sacrifice shouldn't work.
But they couldn't prove it.
Right. They couldn't prove it over the board. Their brains were just too taxed. Tal made the game psychologically expensive, not objectively impossible.
So Tal is essentially exploiting a glitch in human processing power.
Pretty much.
Yeah, but humans didn't evolve to play chess. So where else does this explode? the option strategy actually show up in the real world?
Well, look at evolution itself. It operates on this exact same principle. Variation first, selection later.
Oh, right.
Nature doesn't start by designing a single perfect organism. It explodes with possibilities, mutations and adaptations.
And the ones that survive become the foundation for the future. You see that same mechanism in engineering, too.
And business.
Yeah. A trailblazing company doesn't usually start by perfectly optimizing yesterday's ideas. They prototype a dozen weird concepts.
We create an entirely new category, exactly. The underlying principle here is that complexity isn't always the enemy.
Right.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, society tends to narrowly measure intelligence by who can find the right answer the fastest.
Which is a very limited view.
Very limited. History actually remembers thinkers like Leonardo da Vinci and Richard Feynman.
And Tal on his 64 squares.
Yes, people who enlarged the landscape.
Hmm.
A truly great theory or a masterpiece doesn't just hand us tidy conclusions. It leaves us with much larger questions.
So what does this all mean for us? Because there's a crucial distinction in your notes here, Ekaterina. Tal wasn't just throwing pieces around to create noise.
No, definitely not.
Because anyone can flip a chessboard and make a confusing mess, right? His brilliance was in creating meaningful complexity.
Meaningful complexity, exactly.
Every complication had a purpose. It invited his opponent into deep, unexplored water where he knew how to swim and they didn't.
It's a great reminder that possibility must come before optimization.
Yeah, and the source material actually captures this beautifully with two final thoughts.
Oh yeah, the grandfather's wisdom.
Right, the author's grandfather, who would always say, the forest is always older than your map.
I love that quote. And then there's that wonderful Russian word, right? Pokemucha.
Yes, Pokemuchka, a little why person.
Yeah.
Like a child who asks why about absolutely everything.
It tells us that while growing older is inevitable, growing incurious is entirely optional.
Absolutely. So, Katerina, as we wrap up this exploration, think about how often we demand neat option A or option B choices in our own lives.
We spend an astonishing amount of energy trying to eliminate uncertainty.
We really do, waiting for one more meeting, one more guarantee before we act.
When possibility has to come first.
Right. So if the pursuit of absolute certainty is actually the enemy of discovery, ask yourself, Ekaterina, in what area of your own life or work are you currently spending way too much energy trying to calculate the perfect move, when what you really need is to sacrifice a little comfort in order to grow a much larger forest?